to Live PST. I'm Allan, and it's Friday, right? And so, of course, good morning. How are you guys doing today? If you joined the class a little bit late, that's okay. Tell me how you're doing. I don't know. Tell me what you did yesterday. Blah, blah, blah. Today, I'm doing all right. Feel kind of tired. Woke up a little bit late. So I was running a little bit late earlier today. That's why my hair probably still looks like it's a bit wet. But also, it was raining here in Vancouver very briefly. So that's another reason why my hair is wet. But anyhow, not a bad day yesterday. Didn't really accomplish anything important, but I did some work. I made spaghetti last night for my wife and two daughters. And yeah, we had a pretty normal night. These days in Vancouver, it's actually quite hot. So for me, it's a little bit hard to sleep. And that's, again, why I might look a little bit tired. Well, also because I have two kids. But, in addition to that, I really don't like hot weather. I just feel like it's killing me every single day. But anyhow, yeah, if you guys join at any point, just tell me you're here and tell me how you're doing, and then we'll take things from there. But our plan for today's classes is, our first class, we need to do a grammar review. And this is a review of the stuff that we did on Monday. So we'll be talking about the order of adjectives. Now, in addition to that, there is actually a lot of vocabulary that we need to cover. Now, a lot of the vocabulary we're going to look at today are terms that we actually didn't look at on Monday because I thought they were a little bit too easy, but I think today we are going to just go over them. In addition to that, we will go over some of those idioms that we looked at on Monday and maybe think of example sentences. Anyhow, in our second class today, of course, we will be doing some speaking practice. So I will be modeling some answers for you guys, probably writing some answers on the board. But I'm sure that the stuff we're doing in our first class will spill into our second class. And lastly, in our third class today, we have a music listening elective. And it's all about Flo Rida, the rapper from the United States, with his song. I think the song is called Flo Rida as well. I could be wrong. I'm not very knowledgeable about rappers and that kind of stuff. Anyhow, guys, but I think the first class will probably go into the second class a little bit, and the second class will probably go into the third class. But I think we will be able to finish all the material we have here today before you guys take your quiz, right? So just remember, you can take your quiz anytime later today after class, tomorrow, Sunday, and in this case, maybe Monday, because Monday here is actually a holiday and will be closed. So anyhow. All right, guys, but we got to get started with our grammar again. So let's take a look at our grammar review. And I'm just going to read over this to kind of remind you guys what we're talking about. So order of adjectives. Now, remember what I said on Monday. Order of adjectives is important and not important. If you make a mistake when you're using 3 or more adjectives and the order is mixed up, people don't care too much, but it does make your sentence sound a bit strange. On the other hand, if you ask most Canadians, Americans, or British people, or just basically any native speaker, what is the order of adjectives, most of them don't know, because that part just comes naturally to us, right? That's something we don't really think about very often. But let's take a look at this here. It says, when we use more than one adjective before a noun in English, we often put the adjectives in a specific order. It can sound quite strange if the adjectives are in a different order. Now that's true. If you do mix up the adjectives, it sounds quite strange. However, like I said before, nobody is going to be really upset or think that you are stupid because you mixed up the order of adjectives. But if you do know the correct order of adjectives, and if you do use it correctly, it will make you sound more fluent, right? Anyhow, continuing here, it says, however, there are two things to remember. First, it's very rare to use more than 3 adjectives before a noun. Yeah, think about it. Probably also in your guys' language, whether that's in Korean or Japanese, Portuguese, Spanish, whatever language, it is kind of rare for us to use 3 descriptive adjectives or more to describe something, right? This is not something that probably happens on a daily basis. However, if we do want to be very descriptive, if we do really want to describe something, then yeah, we may use 3 or more adjectives, and that is when the order of adjectives is important. But anyhow, second here it says, sometimes the order can be changed, usually to emphasize something. Okay. Now it says here is the order that we generally follow. Okay, so actually I prefer if you guys were not looking at the sheet right now and if you could try to remember, because there's a shorthand way of talking about the order, and it was what? It was OSAS comp. So you have to try to remember, like, comp maybe being short for computer. And OSAS, well, OSAS isn't a real word, but try to associate this with something, right? So we have to also remember how to fill in each one here. We have this, 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 and this. All right. So the first O here in the order of adjectives. The first O is opinion, right? So when you are stating your opinion, and if you're using multiple adjectives to describe a noun, this adjective will come first. Now again, they provided some examples here. The examples were things like pretty, horrible, lovely, right? But of course we could add more here. Terrible, awful, majestic, etc. Of course, there are so many adjectives of opinion, right? We could go on and on and on and on and on. Okay, but anyhow, after opinion, what comes next? The thing that comes next is size. Now, size is important, of course, right? And that's why it comes second in the order. So we have examples like huge, really, really big. Tiny, kind of the opposite. Big, little, small, micro, etc. So if I saw a really terrible, ugly looking truck, for example, and I wanted to describe it as being both horrible and very large, I could say that is a horrible, huge truck, right? And there we go. So opinion first, size second. So after opinion and size, what comes next? What is the A? The A, of course, is talking about somebody or something's age. So our examples for age, of course, are things like young, old, new, etc., etc., etc. Elderly, etc. Okay, so opinion, size, age, and then we've got osa, but what is osas? What is our next S, right? Got size here. Next one is talking about the shape of something, right? So shape can be things like round, triangular, square, rectangular. And there's really not too much else we could add here. There aren't, an immense amount of different shapes, right? But again, yeah, let's say I was talking about a certain truck and I have my own opinion of what the truck looks like and its size, its age and shape. I could say that's a horrible, huge, old, rectangular truck, right? And there we go. Okay, so we got OSAS. What about COMP? What about comp? What is the C? Of course, the C, the first one here is very easy. That is just color. And remember, Americans do not include a U when they are spelling color. They removed it because they are simplifying the English language. But British people and Canadians, we prefer to stick to tradition. So we continue to use U in words like color, honor, and favorite. Anyhow, color, of course, this is too simple. Red, black, blue, orange, green, etc., etc., etc. Okay. All right, so we got the first C of comp. What is the next one? What is the O, right? Opinion, size, age, shape, color. Next one is origin. Origin means where is it from, right? A descriptive adjective describing where is this thing from. So they have examples here like British, French, or British, Chinese, and French, right? But if something comes from Korea, of course you could call it Korean. Or if something is from Japan, Japanese. Or if something is from Brazil, Brazilian. Or if something is from Colombia, Colombian. Colombian coffee, Brazilian hardwood, Japanese technology, Korean cars, French perfume, Chinese Chinese products, British, I don't know, what do British people make these days? British cars? Well, they still make the Land Rover. I could be wrong. Maybe Jaguar. Anyhow. All right, guys. So opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, M. So we got half of comp finished. We got color, origin. What is the M? What could that M be? The M, of course, is describing when we want to describe the material of an object. So usually, of course, when you're talking about a person and what they look like, you're not talking about the material, right? Because humans are made of skin and bones and this kind of stuff. But anyhow, if you're talking about a shirt, maybe, or a certain object. Anyhow, the first one we have here is woolen, so made of wool, made of sheep's wool. Wooden, made of wood. Silk, ooh, very fancy. Could be something like plastic, made of plastic. Stone, etc., right? Okay, so material's done. So we're almost done. We got O, says, comp. What is the P, right? The P is purpose. But adjectives of purpose are not very common, and that's why the examples here look kind of weird, because they have like writing or school or military, for example. What this means is like the purpose of the item, right? Like this is writing paper, right? This is your school shoes. That is the purpose. You wear these shoes in the school. This is a military uniform, a uniform that is worn in the military, right? Now, it's very, very, very unlikely. Like it said before, it's not common to use like 3 or more adjectives when describing something, right? And it would be really, really hard to use all 8 adjectives types in a sentence, right? Like if you were describing something and you were going to describe it using an adjective of opinion, size, age, shape, color, origin, material, purpose, that's most likely not going to happen, right? That would be really, really unlikely. However, it is kind of important to keep these in mind. If you're going to be using 2, 3, or more adjectives in a sentence, try to keep OSAS comp in mind. Because like I said before, if you mix it up, it's not a big order. Nobody's going to shoot you, right? Nobody's going to be really upset. But if you can use the order of adjectives correctly, it does make you sound better. It makes you sound more fluent, right? Okay, guys, so anyhow, that's our OSIS comp. Let's read on a bit further here. It says the first letters of these words spell OSIS comp, as pointed out by the fabulous Mignon Fogarty. And thinking about the word OSIS comp is a great way to remember the order of adjectives. I do think that's true. Like, it sounds a little bit weird. OSIS comp, OSIS comp. But this is one of the easiest ways to try to memorize the order of adjectives, right? And unfortunately, sometimes you're just going to have to memorize something. Now, determiners, words like a or some or several, blah, 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 they will go at the beginning. Then we also put adverbs like really and very at the beginning, though after the determiners, right? So if you are describing something, a something truck, if you wanted to add an adverb, right, you'd want to say that is our determiner, really, and that's our adverb, lovely, huge, old, rectangular, red, Chinese, plastic, military, car, truck, damn. Yeah. Hey, ooh, wow, I did use all these in an order, right? Okay, so yeah, just remember OSIS comp. It will help you out a little bit. Okay, guys, now we have some examples at the bottom here. We already went over these examples last Monday, so what I would like to do is I'm going to erase the board. I'm going to write down some example sentences on the board, and I want you guys to think using OSIS comp. I want you to look at the sentence and I want you to think, is this correct? Is the sentence correctly using the correct order of adjectives, or is it wrong? And if it's wrong, what should we do? How can we modify it, right? So let's erase this stuff here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so let me think of some examples. Okay, so we're going to use has. He has a very Okay, guys, so let's think about this one here. He has a very round, little, pretty face. Now, thinking about this sentence, it doesn't sound bad when I say it, right? He has a round, little, pretty face. But there's something odd about this sentence. Now, let's identify the parts of this sentence here, right? So he is our subject, of course, right? Has is our verb. Is our article, or in this case, determiner. So what is very? Very is our adverb. So what we are describing here, of course, is this guy's face, right? Face is the noun that we are describing. So we do have 3 descriptive adjectives here, and they are round, little, and pretty, right? Let's think about these 3 adjectives. So round, little, pretty. Now think about OSIS comp, right? And think about the order. OSASCOMP, right? Let's think about round. What is round talking about? Is that an opinion? Is that the material? No and no. Round is talking about the shape, right? So we've got shape, and then we have little. Little talking, is that an opinion? Is that the material? Is it the purpose? No, no, no. Of course, that is talking about the size. And pretty. Pretty is what? Pretty is an opinion, right? So there we go. Now, thinking about OSAS comp again, in what order should these come in, right? Size. What is size? OSAS comp. Opinion, size, and then age and shape. Size is number 2 in our order, right? Think about round. That's the second S in OSAS comp, right? So shape is 4th. And pretty is an opinion, and that comes first, right? So the order here for this sentence is incorrect, right? We do need to switch it up. Basically, we just need to change these two over. Switch pretty and round, and we'd be good. So instead of saying he has a very round little pretty face, we would have to say he has a pretty little round face. Bada bing, bada boom, we're done. Okay, let's look at another example then. And maybe in this case we'll describe something. What do I want to describe though? That is a that is a really nice French. What do I want to say here? Black and blue old cat. Wow, that is a really weird sentence. I don't know why I thought we were describing a cat, and a French cat at that. Wow, that's pretty strange. Anyhow, guys, let's think about this sentence. That is a really nice French black and blue old cat, right? Okay, now right off the bat, you can probably tell that looks weird. That sentence is definitely incorrect, right? There's something odd about this sentence here. And if you do think like that, then of course you are right. Now let's identify what we got here. We got, so that is our article or determiner. We've got really, that is our adverb. And then we've got nice French, black and blue, old cat. So of course, cat is our noun. And we have a ton of descriptive adjectives here, right? We got nice, we got French, black and blue, because they're both describing the color, let's keep those together. And we got old. Okay, so nice. What would nice be? Of course, nice is an opinion. And then we got French, and French is describing the origin, right? And then we've got old, obviously talking about the age, and black and blue, obviously this is describing the color. Okay, so are these in the correct order? Not exactly, but opinion, nice is an opinion, and opinion comes first. So that part is fine, actually. We can keep nice where it is. But after that, we've got French, and that is describing the origin, and it comes in 6th place. And then we have age, right? OSAS, right? Age comes in 3rd. And then we have color, OSAS comp, right? And color comes in 5th. So we definitely need to reorganize this part here. So it should be, instead of nice French, black and blue, old cat, it should be nice and then age 2nd. So nice, old, and then color comes next because color is in 5th place. Black and blue. And lastly, number 6, the origin should come last, right? French cat, right? So the sentence should be That is a really nice old black and blue French cat, right? That is a really weird sentence though, still, right? And it still sounds odd, but that is the correct order. Okay, let's take a look at one or two more examples, guys. Let's do another one here. Have to think of something that I want to describe though. She has a triangular red lovely tiny pendant. Okay, and a pendant is like kind of jewelry, right? Anyhow, guys, she has a triangular red lovely tiny pendant, right? Now, of course, she is our subject, has is our verb, a is our article. In this case, we have no adverb, and we have 4 adjectives describing our noun, and our noun is the pendant or this piece of jewelry, right? So let's think about this here. Triangular, red, lovely, and tiny, right? Got our 4 adjectives. So let's think about them. Triangular, what is this describing, right? Triangular, right? Oh, I'm not very good, but like a triangle. So think, osas comp. This is talking about the shape, right? And that comes in number 4. Shape. And that's in 4th place. Okay, red, we know that's the color. And we know color is coming in comp, and that would be 5th. Lovely is just an opinion, so that should come 1st. And tiny is talking about the size, and that comes in 2nd. So the order here is pretty bad, right? It's very, very mixed up. So of course, what we should do to change this here, and I kind of ran out of room, so I'm going to write it over here. Of course, our opinion should come first, so it should be lovely. And then, of course, second, we're going to have size, lovely, tiny. Then we've got shape, and then we got color, so it'll be a lovely, tiny, triangular, and red. So she has a lovely, tiny, triangular red pendant. And there we go. All right, guys, so we looked at some examples there. I hope that kind of helps you out. It is a good idea to try to familiarize yourselves with OSAS comp as much as you can, right? Try to get some practice. If you want practice, of course, go online and search order of adjectives exercises, and you could try those out. Some of them might be pretty good. But I think what we're going to do, guys, is look at vocabulary now. Now, remember on Monday, actually, we had a huge list of idioms and expressions, and we did go over those, but we didn't really go over these different, the other vocabulary sheets. And the other vocabulary sheets here were really extensive. There was a lot of stuff here, and they were split into different parts. We had in the bedroom, in the living room, parts of a house, tables, vocabulary. Oh my God, this is just about tables. How boring, right? And actually, there were even more than these ones here, right? So what I think we should do, guys, is just briefly, because it's always good to look at something visual. Take a look at this with me, and we're going to talk about these ones and just go over how to pronounce them. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I think it would be very boring for you guys, but let's go over this, and then after we will take a quick look at some of those idioms again. Unfortunately, I forgot to print the sheet off for myself, so I'm just going to read it off my phone. But let's take a look here, guys. So let's start with in the bedroom first. So everything here is something that you could find in your bedroom. So let's take a look and start at the top right and then move, or sorry, top left, and then move to the right and then downward. So top left hand corner, we have air conditioner. Now, I know a lot of people in Asia, I think in Japan and of course in Korea, you guys shorten the term air conditioner to aircon. I think in Korea you say like aircon, aircon, aircon makes such nice weather, right? Why am I saying that? I don't know. Yeah, air conditioner, right? Now, right now, like I said in Vancouver, it's actually kind of hot. In my apartment, we don't have an air conditioner because usually in Vancouver, it's really only hot for 2 months, 2.5 months if we're lucky. So yeah, most older apartments in Vancouver don't have an air conditioner. And it makes sense because it's just not usually that hot here. But anyhow, air conditioner used for pumping cold air into your room if it's really hot. To the right, we have clothes valet. Who has a clothes valet in their bedroom, right? I think you'd have to be a very rich woman or very old woman to have one of these. Now, if you have one of these in your bedroom, sorry, I don't mean to make a joke, but yeah, this is really uncommon. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. Anyhow, after that, of course, you got your bed. And then after that, guys, they have balanced arm lamp, an arm lamp. Honestly, for most Canadians and Americans, we will just call this a lamp, right? We might call it an arm lamp, but that's not necessary. Just use the word lamp. Don't call it balanced arm lamp. Nobody says that here. Okay, now next one here. This is something that my wife and I use for our daughters. It is a crib, right? In the UK, they say cot, but here they say crib. So crib, of course, is like a baby's bed or a toddler's bed, right? And I always think these ones are funny because they look like a little jail, right? But that is important because you don't want your kid to fall out of the bed. Anyhow, so yeah, crib. Over to the right, we have upholstered bench. This is something, again, I've never seen this in a room in Canada. Not very important. After that, we have bedside table. Everybody likes to have a bedside table, right? You usually put a lamp on your bedside table and you turn it on and you can read a book when you're in bed, or read some news or something, or maybe put an old-fashioned telephone on it, but nobody has old-fashioned well, that's not true. Some older people might have old-fashioned telephones. Anyhow, moving on further, of course, we have a bookshelf that could be found in the bedroom or maybe in your library if you're a super rich person and your house has a library, which would be awesome, right? After that, we have desk, or in the UK, they call it a bureau. Now, that is actually cool. If you refer to a desk as a bureau, like I'm going to work at my bureau, it sounds really fantastic, right? It sounds really cool. But anyhow, in Canada and America, just desk. Then in the UK, the next one is chest of drawers. We don't say that in the US or Canada. And here we say just a dresser, right? And a dresser is where you're keeping your clothes in an organized way. After that, of course, we got clock. Moving on further, dressing table. My mom used to have a dressing table in her bedroom when I was a kid. I haven't seen one for a long time. But of course, that is like a little table where you can sit down on a seat. And there's a nice big mirror, right? So you can look at yourself and, pluck your eyebrows, or, change your mascara and do all that kind of stuff. It would be very unusual for a single man to have a dressing table in his room. And if he did, I kind of wonder about him, but that's okay. Anyhow, next one, guys, we have is fan, right? Just a fan for blowing air. Not fan like, I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise, right? Tom Cruise, great actor. I'm a big fan, right? But anyhow, to the right of that, we have pillow. Everybody has a pillow on their bed. And to the right of that, we have a hat stand. And again, this is something I've never seen in anybody's room. It sounds very classy if you have a hat stand in your room. Maybe this is something that was much more common in the 1940s when hats were more commonly worn. Okay, moving on further though, we have table lamp, mirror, curtains for the window, picture, of course, and then an ironing board, which is something I don't usually keep in my bedroom, but we do have an ironing board at home. TV, who cares? telephone, and hope chest. I've never heard of a hope chest. Maybe that is where some rich people keep their jewelry or rings or necklaces or whatever. Anyhow, so that's good enough for in the bedroom. Most of these things here are pretty good. Of course, don't use the British version. Nobody uses that. But I do like the idea of using the word bureau to describe a desk. So let's move on, guys. To the back side, we've got in the living room. Now, in the living room, that's where all the action is, right? The living room is the fun room, right? Well, the bedroom and the living room. But whatever. Anyhow, so we got a lot of stuff here. Top left-hand corner, we got wing chair. But usually we would just say chair, right? TV stand, sofa, cushion, telephone, television, speaker, end table. I've never used that term before, end table, but it's not too bad. Tea set, that's very British, but lots of Canadians do also drink tea, British style tea. Fireplace, ooh, classic, right? Remote, fan, again, floor lamp, carpet, table, and I wish they had mentioned coffee table. Coffee table is not mentioned here. Now, of course, a coffee table is a table. It's just a little bit short, right? It's not very tall, basically, right? You could rest your feet on the coffee table. I love coffee tables. That's the only piece of furniture that I really care about. I don't know why I care about coffee tables, but I just find them very convenient, right? I can put my feet on them. I can put books on them. I can put my coffee there, and thus coffee table. Anyhow, blinds, curtains, picture, grandfather clock. Grandfather clock is one of those very old, nice clocks, right? And they are pricey, right? They are very, very expensive. If your grandfather has a grandfather clock, you know, try to get that clock and hold on to it because it might become a collector's item in the future and you could sell it for a lot of money. And then lastly, vase. Vase or vase. There are two different ways to pronounce this. Vase and vase. I believe the origin of the word is French, and thus some people will say vase. Other people will say vase, right? Anyhow, so that's it for the living room. Okay, good enough for that one. Let's take a quick look at tables. Vocabulary, boom, right? So depending on the purpose, you will refer to tables in different ways. So taking a look at the top left, we have a writing desk, and then we have a bedside table, a card table, conference table for meetings, of course, right? Computer desk for your computer, work table, that's a common one, of course. Desk, just a regular desk, an end table. Dining room table, right? And it looks like there's some beer there. That's a weird picture. I'm pretty sure that's beer. Anyhow, dressing table, patio table, bar table. Yeah, bar table. Remember those? Remember the last time you went to a bar? I can. Picnic table, table tennis table. Why did they include table tennis table? All right, guys, so a lot of different kinds of tables. Not really vital, but anyhow. All right, guys, and let's just take a look at two more sheets really quickly. Actually, I prefer, we have here parts of a house and parts of the house. Let's look at, we should look at parts of a house first, I guess. So very top of the roof, you have your ridge, right? And that is just the top at the very top of the roof. The roof is just this part here. Some houses may still have a chimney or chimney pot. When I was growing up, yeah, the house we lived in, we had a chimney because we had a fireplace. But even at the time, this was kind of uncommon. But we would cut down trees from the backyard and then split them into, you know, logs or wood, and we would actually burn wood in order to produce heat. That's pretty unusual now. Maybe some people still in my hometown or deeper in the countryside still do that, but that is probably frowned upon now. People think, like, oh, you're killing trees, you know, that's really bad. But yeah, Canada has a lot of trees, so it's okay. Anyhow, chimney pot, chimney, satellite dish, wall, of course, window, a hanging basket, That's nice. Garage door, basement, driveway, stairs, mailbox, balcony door, and yeah, that's about it. Okay, that was a little bit boring, but let's take a look here, guys. Parts of the house might be a little bit more useful. So the first one on the top left describes the material of the house, bricks. Depending on what country you live in and what region you live in, of course, houses are usually made out of different types of material, right? I know in the United Kingdom, for example, that a lot of houses are made out of brick, right? A brick house. That is not the case in Canada. It's very uncommon to see brick houses or brick apartments. There are some, of course, but generally we will be using materials like wood or, I don't know, wood or just cement. Yeah, I guess. I don't know enough about materials. Anyhow, so bricks. Next term we have here is antenna or satellite dish also. You know, I think not as many people use these anymore as like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Door knocker. So on the front door, if there's a special thing and you knock on the door with it, it's called a door knocker. And we got mailbox, chimney, chimney pot, garage, right? And when it comes to the garage, you have the garage door, the gable. I never heard of that one before. Don't worry about it. Driveway leading up to the garage. After that, we've got shutter, skylight. Maybe your house has a skylight. That's pretty cool. I've never heard of the term French door, so I wouldn't worry about that. I would just call that a door. Maybe a French door is a door that you can sneak through because French people are kind of sneaky. That's a bad joke. Don't worry, I'm part French. Dormer window, and again, ridge, eaves, roof, wall, basement, stairs, window, burglar alarm. Burglar alarm is actually a good one because I know in Korea and Japan, I know with a lot of apartments that you guys have a like pre-installed burglar alarm, right? Even though I know Japan and Korea are very, very, very safe countries. And I'm sure probably if you're living in Brazil or Chile too, that you probably have some kind of alarm system, right? To keep bad people away, like burglars or, I don't know, other kinds of criminals, right? Doorstep, front door, fence. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that about does it for parts of the house, guys. I know that's not incredibly exciting stuff. And it depends on where you live. Like, if, for example, you guys are in Canada or you're going to be coming to Canada, you know, Vancouver is an extremely expensive city, so you are probably not going to be living in a house. Or, well, maybe you're renting a basement suite, right, in a house. That can happen, right? So some of these terms here would be kind of useful in order to describe that house, right? But if you're going to be living in an apartment, of course, you're not going to be using so many nouns and adjectives to describe the place, right? But anyhow, guys. All right, so we still got some time. We got about 5 minutes. Like I said before, we also looked at that list of adjectives. Or sorry, not list of adjectives. That list of different idioms for houses and homes on Monday. So what I think we should do, guys, is go over some of them. So I know this is kind of a pain, but if you could refer to that sheet from Monday's class and it said 20 idioms about the house and home, that would be great. Now, the reason why I'm looking at my phone is because I didn't print the sheet off. Don't worry, I'm not reading news or doing something stupid while I'm talking to you. But like I said on Monday, number one, a home truth, not good. I've never used this in my life, so don't use number one. But number two is good, right? So I'm just going to put an asterisk here. House divided cannot stand, right? Now remember, if you say a house divided cannot stand, the meaning of this is if there is an organization where there is a lot of disagreement between two or more groups, it will fall apart. The organization will be destroyed, kaput. It will die, right? Now remember, this expression is so famous because it comes from Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln was the president of the United States during the United States' most dire hour, the most difficult time in American history. And of course, that was in, what was that, 1860 to 1865. That was the United States Civil War between the North and the South. And of course, they were fighting because the South wanted to keep slavery, right? They wanted to continue to use African American people to pick crops for them so they could make a lot of money. And the North, they were tired of this. They didn't want slavery to exist anymore. They thought slavery was a moral abomination. It was awful, right? We've got to stop that. And of course, Abraham Lincoln wanted to free the slaves because he was one of the greatest leaders in history, definitely the greatest leader in American history. And he said this when there was so much disagreement between the northern states and the southern states. He said, "A house divided cannot stand." And what he meant is this house is divided between the north and the south, and it's gonna fall apart, right? So a case in which you might use this is like, let's say in a more casual case. Let's say, you're living with your girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, you're living with your significant other, and you guys are fighting a lot these days. You're having a lot of disagreements, about where should you put the bedside table, or how to cook rice properly, or you're fighting about something, right? And you're fighting every day, and you're thinking, you're talking to your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, and you say to them, okay, listen, a house divided cannot stand. Like, we gotta stop fighting because this internal disagreement in our organization, our relationship, is going to destroy our house. Not our real house, but the, imaginary house that we live in, our relationship. Anyhow, so usually, honestly, I really love this idiom, a house divided cannot stand. It's a little bit hard to use this, but I think you would use this in a case where there seems to be a lot of disagreement within an organization that you work for or that you are part of, and you want it to stop. And you say, a house divided cannot stand. We have to stop this disagreement. But if we think about the modern day America, right, in the United States, right now, or to a lesser extent in Canada, there is a lot of political disagreement, especially in the United States right now, right? And it looks like they're pretty close to, the US looks pretty close to going overboard, going kind of crazy. So if we look at the United States, we could use this expression quite easily right now. A house divided cannot stand. I hope the Americans don't have a second civil war. Anyhow, guys, so that's the first one. I'm going to write down the next one, but we probably won't get into it because we need to take a break here. Okay, home, away from home. And this is a good one. A home away from home. Well, actually, I don't need the article. Home away from home. But actually, I don't know why they put this in parentheses or brackets. Home away from home. Home away from home is just describing a place that feels like home to you, even though this place is not your home. But guys, we need to take a break. After the break, we will continue with the idioms for a little bit. Then we will get into some speaking practice and yada yada. Okay, so let's take a break, guys. See you again in 10 minutes. Hey guys, welcome back. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I got caught up in a conversation, so sorry about that. But anyhow, guys, back to that list of idioms that we were taking a look on Monday. And again, sorry, it's on my phone. It's not on a sheet of paper. And we were just taking a look at home away from home. Home away from home before the break. Now, a home away from home is somewhere where you feel just as comfortable as you are in your own home, right? Now, this could be used to describe an apartment or house that you are living in where you feel just as comfortable as you do as in the home you grew up in, right? But this could also describe a country or a city where you also feel comfortable, right? So for me, I said before on Monday that a long time ago, I lived in South Korea. I lived in the city of Seoul, the capital city of South Korea. And after living there for a year, I felt really comfortable living in Seoul. I knew the public transportation system really well. I had a nice apartment. I had lots of friends in Korea. So for me, Seoul felt like my home away from home. Seoul is my home away from home because I felt just as comfortable living in Seoul as I did in my home country or in my own house, right? So that is the meaning of home away from home. Pretty good idiom. But let's move on further down the list. Number 4, home comforts. Sorry guys, I don't recommend this. Number 5 is a good one though, because number 5 is the same idiom that describes this week's topic. Home is where the heart is, right? Home is where the heart is. And I think this is true, right? And home is where the heart is saying that a home is not really a physical place, but a place where your loved ones are, where the people you love are, right? So I could say, my home is anywhere where my family is, because home is where the heart is. So for me, of course, I have a family, right? I have a wife. I have 2 daughters. Wherever they are is my home, right? It doesn't matter whether it's an apartment, a big house, a small house, whether it's Vancouver or Tokyo or Berlin or Sao Paulo. Wherever they are is where my home is, because home is where the heart is. Home is where my loved ones are, right? And there we go. That's all it means. It's a good expression. Okay, but moving on further down the list. Safe as houses, number 7. On the house. Sorry, number 6. If something is on the house, and this expression is good, I do use this. If it's on the house, it basically just means something is free. So if maybe you give a drink or some food to your coworker, you want to give it to them for free, you might want to say, you know, here's a drink. And don't worry, it is on the house. So you're saying like, hey man, here's a drink. Don't worry, it's on the house. It's free, right? You don't have to worry about paying for it. Now, usually if we say something is on the house, it's free because the management of this establishment, the management of this restaurant, this bar, this pub, whatever it is paying for it, right? So you don't need to pay for it. It's on the house. Sometimes when you go to a restaurant or a pub, maybe you order a lot of drinks, maybe the management or the restaurant might give you something for free, like some French fries or some chips. You might say like, oh, hey, how much is that? And they say, hey, don't worry about it. It's on the house. It's free, right? But this expression on the house doesn't only have to be used in a restaurant or bar setting. It can be used anytime when you're giving something to somebody and you want to explain to them that it is free and they don't have to pay, right? It is on the house, right? Anyhow, further on down here though, number 7, safe as houses. No, I've never used this expression before. I don't recommend it. So let's take a look at number 8. Number 8 is close to home. Now, usually we would say something hit close to home. And the meaning of this is some kind of news that you recently heard has had an emotional impact on you because it reminds you of something in your life, right? So it says nearing an embarrassing or uncomfortable truth, usually used to describe a remark, right? In my opinion, I think it's better described as a remark or something that somebody said or something that you heard that has an emotional impact on you because it's something you can identify with. You've experienced that before, or it's something you would think about that makes you feel bad. So my example on Monday was like I said to you guys, if I hear a story or read a story about, you know, those sad stories about like children getting cancer and dying, those stories hit close to home for me because I have 2 daughters and they're fine, they're healthy, but those stories really freak me out. They hit close to home. So I could just say as an example, those stories hit close to home. They had an emotional impact on me. That looks really weird. Okay, I'm gonna erase that. Okay, all right guys, but let's move on further. So our next one here, we have in number 9 here, to bring something home to someone. To force someone to realize and accept the full significance of something. This is not bad, but I don't use this too much myself, so we're gonna skip number 9 and take a look at number 10 instead. To drive something home. To drive something home. The meaning of this is to insist on something or to repeat a point until it is clearly understood. So as a teacher, I often do this. I repeat certain things or certain vocabulary or expressions because I want to drive it home, right? Or for you guys, I could say, I want to drive OSAS comp home. So I want to keep repeating and insisting on OSAS comp until you guys understand it. That is the meaning, right? Or let's say if you're a woman, you have a boyfriend or a husband, right? And you know, one of the common, I think this doesn't matter what country you live in any relationship, in any country, between a man and a woman, if you're living together, one of the big problems that a lot of women complain about is that men don't put the toilet seat down. We generally keep the toilet seat up, right? But I know a lot of women don't like that. They prefer that the toilet seat be put down. I don't know why. I still don't understand, right? But anyhow, maybe you keep telling your boyfriend or your husband, like, when you're done with the toilet, put the toilet seat down, right? And they're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll try my best, right? And you keep saying again and again, you want to drive that point home. I want to drive home, or I want to drive that home. I want to drive the point that you should put the toilet seat down home. Anyhow, guys, I don't know why I'm talking about that, but it is a pretty common one. My wife has effectively trained me now, though. At this point in my life, I do put the toilet seat down after using the bathroom. But it took about 10 years. Anyhow, let me erase this here. And let's take a look at some of the other idioms that we got here. Dun, dun, dun. So next one, I'm going to switch to black because I think the blue is kind of dying. Number 11, to eat someone out of house and home. This means to eat a lot of food, usually when you're a guest at someone's house. It means you're eating so much food that you are going to make them homeless because they're going to lose a lot of money. To eat someone out of house and home. Okay. So maybe you say, for example, at the party last night, I ate John out of house and home. So all I'm saying here is basically what I'm saying is at the party last night, I ate a lot of food, or I ate so much food that poor John is going to lose his house because he spent so much money on the food that I ate, right? So of course this is just used as a joke, but it is expressing the fact that you ate a lot or somebody ate a lot. Like if you invite your friend to your house and your friend's eating all your food and you're like, hey man, you are eating me out of house and home. You're saying to your friend, like, you're eating a lot of the food in my house. You're going to make me poor, right? So stop eating. Okay, so that's a good one. It's just an exaggeration though, but it is a funny one. And the next one we have is to feel homesick. Of course, very commonly used. To feel homesick. If you feel homesick, you feel like you are sick for home, right? You really want to go home. You miss your home, whether that's your actual home with your family, or maybe that's just your home country, right? So a lot of international students, when they come to Canada, after a couple of months, of course, sometimes, or most of the time, they feel homesick, right? They miss their mom, they miss their dad, they miss their brothers or sisters, their dogs or cats, and maybe they miss the food in their home country, right? At some point, everybody who is an expat or international student, when they go to another country, they are going to get homesick, right? Everybody gets homesick sometimes, and they miss the food or the people, their friends, their family in their hometown, right? Or in their home country. So as an example, I might say, if you feel homesick while living in Vancouver, I suggest going to a restaurant that serves your country's cuisine, or basically food, right? That's a very basic suggestion, but yeah, if you feel homesick while living in Vancouver, I suggest going to a restaurant that serves your country's cuisine. So if you're in Vancouver and you're Korean, you want to find a Korean restaurant, super easy. There's so many Korean restaurants. Are they good? Yeah, not so much, but they're not too bad, and it might help fight your homesickness. Or if you're Brazilian, you're feeling homesick while you're living in Vancouver, don't worry, there are a few Brazilian restaurants. I actually heard most of them are not very good. That's kind of sad, but that's just what I heard. And I think there's a Brazilian bakery. If you are from Chile and you're living in Canada or you're living in Vancouver, I'm sorry, I don't think there are any Chilean restaurants. You're out of luck, right? Actually, if you're Japanese, actually don't go to a Japanese restaurant in Vancouver because you might be really disappointed, because a lot of the Japanese restaurants in Vancouver are pretty awful, to be honest. But anyhow, so we got that one, guys. To feel homesick. To get on like a house on fire, number 13. No, Do not recommend this. To give house room to, 14. No, do not recommend this. 15. To go all around the house. Yeah, no, I'm not going to recommend that. 16. To hit home. Yes, to hit home is an expression that we do use in Canada. To hit home. And to hit home just means to hit or to reach a target, right? A target that you wanted to accomplish, a goal, right? If you say, for example, you say, I hit home. Or actually another good expression would be, I hit a home run. And that's like a baseball related idiom. That would basically just mean like I succeeded. I accomplished my goal. I achieved something, right? And that's good. So, but that's all it means. So let's move on, guys. After 16 is 17, to home in on, which is actually also a good expression. To home in on. The meaning of this is just to move closer to a target or goal or something, right? So let's say you are looking for a new apartment, right? That is your goal for this month. You need to find a new apartment for next month, right? Because you need to live somewhere because you don't want to be homeless, right? And let's say you think you're getting close to finding a good apartment. Like you went to a room, you took a look, it seems pretty good, and you're negotiating with the landlord, and it seems like you're going to get this apartment. You could say, I am homing, because in this case, home is being used as a verb, right? I am homing in on a new apartment, right? You're gonna get, guys, number 18, to keep house. Yeah, okay, this is used. To keep house just means the person who takes care of the duties that should be performed in a house, right? Cooking, cleaning, laundry, blah, blah, blah. To keep house. Now, of course, these days, I think in general, when it comes to a couple, things are better than in the past. In the past, it was just the wife or the mom who was keeping house, right? She's doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, the laundry, the organization, you know, blah, 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 right? But nowadays in relationships, if you're a guy, you kill you. So let's say these days, my wife and I both keep house. We both do a lot of house chores, but we both keep house, but I have to admit that my wife probably does about 60 and I do about 40. Anyhow, all right, guys. So that's to keep house. Number 19, make yourself at home. Always a good expression. Make yourself at home. Yourself at home. And the meaning of this expression, and you just use it by itself. You can feel comfortable here. You can feel just as comfortable here as you do when you are in your own home, right? Please feel comfortable here like you are at home. Make yourself at home. So if I invite, you know, somebody to my house and I want them to feel comfortable, I might say like, hey, John, make yourself at home. Take a seat. Do you want some beer? Do you want some water or like apple juice? Apple juice, that's a weird thing to offer an adult. But anyhow, yeah, make yourself at home. You know, treat this place like it's your own house. Please don't feel uncomfortable, right? Okay, guys, so we went over all the idioms that I use. Some of the idioms on the sheet I skipped, but those ones are just not commonly used in Canada or America, and I cannot recommend them. So let's stop it there, though, with vocabulary. We really should move on, finally, to the speaking practice. So Speaking practice is always a little bit weird online, but what I'm going to do is look at the questions and I'm going to give you guys an example answer. Possibly I might write down the answer because I think that could be a little bit useful for you guys, but we'll see how it goes. All right. And we'll erase that part there. Okay, board's looking okay. I'm going to switch back to being better now. This speaking practice is all about where the home is, or where the heart is. Speaking practice, because I know where the heart is. It's on the upper left-hand side of your chest. Ha ha ha. Right. Okay, guys. So we got a big list of questions. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Ooh, 11. Oh my God. Okay, let's take a look at the first question. And this is a pretty regular question. This is something that somebody may ask you, right? If they're interested in knowing more about you and where you are from. They may ask you, what does the outside of your house or apartment look like? All right. So think about your house or your apartment back in your home country. What does it look like? Okay, well, I live in an apartment with my family, so it's not really fun to describe the outside of our apartment. My home looks like an apartment building. This is boring, but yeah, my home looks like kind of like a regular, I'm gonna say a regular 1980s apartment. Actually, the building was created in the 1980s, right? So my home looks like a regular 1980s apartment building. I should say, however, it does look cleaner than most older apartment buildings. So that's a good thing. Anything else about the outside? No, that's pretty much it. Sorry guys, I know that's not very exciting, but yeah, my home is just, it's an apartment in the side of an apartment building. It looks like a pretty regular apartment building, but from the 1980s, like kind of 1980s style. It would be hard for me to describe 1980s Canadian apartment style to you. But maybe you can imagine, because I think architecture around the world is relatively similar. Unless we go back a long ways in history, then it's really, really different. But anyhow, that's number one. Number two, can you describe each room of your house or apartment? Which room is your favorite and why? Oh God. So my apartment only really has 4 separate rooms. Not really separate. We have a bedroom, we have a living room, we have a bathroom, we have a kitchen. So yeah, I guess I could say that though. My apartment has 4 rooms. So let's talk about the kitchen. The kitchen is relatively small but efficient. The bathroom is quite spacious. Okay, now spacious is an adjective that you guys might not know. Spacious is a pretty good one. If you say a certain place, this is not used for describing a person, but it's only really used to describe a room. If you say this room is spacious, you're saying it has a lot of space. Basically, it means a large room, right? So anyhow, yeah, the bathroom is quite spacious. I have a relatively spacious bathroom. It's quite big. It's a really good bathroom, actually. The bedroom is a decent size, and the living room is a bit small. Now, what is my favorite room? That's a really boring question because I don't have a lot of rooms in my apartment. My favorite room, let's say my favorite room right now, like currently in my life, is the bedroom, because I always more sleep. So whenever I do go to the bedroom, I'm like, oh my God, finally I can go to sleep, right? And yeah, currently it is my favorite. I know this is a pretty boring answer, but maybe if you guys live in an actual house, this is a more interesting question. But what do we got here, guys? Okay, next one. Do you like the place where you are currently living? Why or why not? Ooh, this is actually a good question for me. Basically, and I'm gonna say that, basically I don't like my current place because it is too for my family. So we are going to move out in the fall. So yeah, actually no, I should say, however, I really like the location of my apartment because it is very convenient. All right, guys, so basically when it comes to my place right now, yeah, I don't like my current place. I don't like my place right now because it's just too small for my family. I've got 2 kids, right? Oh my God. So we're going to move out in the fall. Now, the reason why we're not moving immediately is because my younger daughter, she's just too young, right? So we can't really move immediately. That would be really, really tough. So we need to wait a little bit until she's like 4 months, 5 months. So we'll move out in October or November. That's the plan anyhow. However, I really like the location of my apartment because it is very convenient. My apartment is located pretty close to a lot of good grocery stores, and it's very close to my workplace, so I can walk to work, which is always awesome. You know, it only takes me about 10 minutes to walk to work, so that's really, really awesome, and I don't have to drive, so that saves a lot of money. Okay, so those are my answers for number 1 through 3. Let's continue onwards here. I know I probably need to get a new marker because both the blue and black look like they're both kind of dying. So I'm gonna get a new marker later. Okay, but let's move on to the next one. Give me a second here. Okay. So next one on our list, number 4, how are homes different in your home country compared to Vancouver? Wow, this is a good question. But this is a really good question for you guys, especially if you're living here in Vancouver. Think about the homes in your home country, in Chile, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Korea, Japan, Taiwan. What do homes look like in your country? How are they different from homes here in Vancouver? I don't know. You guys would have to describe that to me. So feel free to write anything down at any time, and I'll take a look. But, yeah, hey, I got some new markers. Awesome, thank you. So that's good. All right, guys, but Now, technically I can't really answer this question because it says, how are homes different in your home country compared to Vancouver? My home country is Canada. So it's kind of hard for me to compare homes in Canada versus homes in Vancouver. It's the same country. However, I am from up north. My hometown is in the countryside, very far up north, and homes do look a lot different when I compare them to homes in Vancouver. So I can't actually answer this. I'm going to say here, good marker, when I compare homes or houses in my hometown to ones in Vancouver, it is kind of depressing. What I'm saying here is when I think about homes in my hometown and I compare them to homes in Vancouver, it's kind of sad, it's kind of depressing. Now you might be thinking, well, why is it sad? Okay, well, let me explain why it's sad. Houses in my hometown are much larger. Now, I think if I think about houses in my hometown compared to most countries or most cities in Canada or cities in your country or whatever, houses in my hometown are really, really big. Like if you go to my hometown and you see the average house, you'd be like, wow, right? Because in my hometown we have a lot of room, right? There's a lot of space. So people have big houses, right? They're much larger and quite cheap. They're not very expensive, so that's another huge bonus. Houses in my hometown are large and pretty cheap when you think of the cost. Houses in Vancouver are more expensive, of course. Actually, let's be more honest here. Are more than, or actually, I'll be more accurate. In Vancouver, costs about 5 times. Actually, I won't use the X, I'll use 5 times more and are smaller. That is why it is so depressing, right? Okay, so actually if I think about homes in my hometown, a regular house in my hometown, which is quite large, would cost about $250,000. If I took that house and put that house in Vancouver, honestly, it would be even more than 5 times greater, right? But generally speaking, the average house in my hometown is 5 times cheaper than the average home in Vancouver. But not only that, the average house in my hometown is bigger, it's more spacious, it looks better also, right? Like Vancouver is a weird city. It's very clean, it's a very nice city, but houses are extremely expensive here. It's one of actually not one. It is Vancouver's main problem. Number one problem is housing prices are too high. Like if you're walking around Vancouver, let's say you're walking in a residential neighborhood in a suburb or something, and you see this old house, it's only got 1 floor, and it looks really bad, and it looks broken down. You think like, oh my God, that house looks so ugly, right? Hey, Alejandro. You might think, oh my God, this house looks so ugly, but that house costs more than $1 million, right? So it's very weird. Anyhow, Alejandro just said, in my country, all the buildings and houses are built with cold materials like bricks and concrete. Also don't need heat system. All right, Alejandro, thanks for telling me that. I guess that makes sense, Alejandro, in Colombia. Like, yeah, you would want to have buildings built out of cold materials because, yeah, bricks and concrete, because, yeah, you don't need a heating system in Colombia. I guess Colombia is a very hot country. I could be wrong. I know in Colombia you guys do have mountainous areas, and I guess if you live in those areas, it's probably a little bit cool, but I'm guessing in most of Colombia it's pretty hot, so cold material sounds like a good idea. But yeah, so Alejandro, if you come to Vancouver, yeah, you'll see a lot of houses that are made out of, for houses is mostly wood. For apartments is usually concrete, sometimes brick, but not very common, glass. A lot of newer apartment buildings are steel and glass and this kind of stuff, and they look good, but sometimes the quality is not so good. But anyhow, all right guys, so that's number 4. Let's take a look at number 5. Our 5th question here is, this is a tough question, so maybe Alejandro or Gian, you guys will have to think about it. What are the advantages and disadvantages of homestays? Now, I hope you guys know the meaning of homestays. Like Alejandro, I think maybe if you're here in Vancouver, or Gian, or any international student, when you come to Vancouver, for example, you can maybe find your own apartment. That's great. Or you could do a homestay, right? Where you stay with a Canadian family in their home. What are the advantages of staying with a Canadian family in their home? And what are the disadvantages? What do you guys think? So maybe, of course, I've met lots of international students, so I've heard lots of good and bad things about homestays. So I could write my opinion, but of course, international students, you guys know much more about this, but I'm going to say here, in my opinion, one of the main advantages is that you can immerse yourself in English because you have to speak English to your homestay family. All right? I think that is the biggest advantage if you live in a homestay. You can immerse yourself. Now, immerse means like really like to dive in or to surround yourself with, right? You can immerse yourself in English because you can only speak English to your homestay family, right? Your homestay brother or sister or mom and dad. So it can be really good for language practice, right? Also, you don't have to cook. So if you really don't like cooking or you're really bad at cooking, usually when you stay in a homestay, the homestay mom and or dad will cook the meals for you, right? And maybe pack a lunch. So that's a pretty good advantage, right? Okay, but on the other hand, one of the main things is that homestays are kind of expensive. Like it's usually cheaper to find your own apartment. On the other hand, they can be pricey. And pricey is another adjective for expensive. They can be pricey and you will not have so much freedom. You live in a homestay, you have to follow, yeah, I should say that, because you have to follow their rules. So yeah, if you live in a homestay, you don't have so much freedom, right? You have to follow the rules of the house in order to be polite. And some of the rules can be strict, you know, hey, come home at this time, or don't use too much hot water, or you can't take a shower after 10 p.m., or you can't do laundry at this time or on this day, right? I've met so many international students here, And I've heard so many good things and bad things about their homestays, but most of the bad things were about the homestay parents being too controlling, like telling the student like, hey, you can't do laundry today, or hey, you have to come home at 9 p.m. Or sometimes the cooking is bad, right? They cook really cheap food because they're trying to make money out of you, right? So homestays, it's really hit or miss. Like if students are coming here, I can't really recommend homestays because I've heard so many bad stories. But on the other hand, sometimes people get lucky and they have a really good experience, and it is really good for language practice. So if you or your friend is coming to study in Vancouver, homestays is something you should consider, but you must be aware of the disadvantages. And the disadvantages are that it can cost more. Actually, for sure, it's more expensive than finding your own apartment. But also, sometimes they can be really strict, and sometimes you're not going to like those rules. So my recommendation is, if you're actually going to stay in a homestay, don't sign a contract for a really long time. If you can, just sign a contract for 1 or 2 months if possible, and maybe 3 months at most. After staying in a homestay for 3 months, you should really go somewhere else and try living by yourself, because living by yourself is always a good experience, right? You need to learn how to do your own laundry, how to cook your own food, how to deal with roommates, et cetera, et cetera. So ultimately, I do think when you're living abroad, you should live by yourself or with some roommates. Homestays are good, but just for a short time. Okay, next one we have here is, do you ever feel homesick, sad from missing home or family while you're away from them? Yeah, of course. My home is here in Vancouver, so I don't feel homesick right now, but my hometown, like I said before, is far up north in Canada, in Terrace. This is number 6, I think. Do I feel homesick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, sometimes I feel homesick. Yeah. Yes. Sometimes I feel homesick. Now, I'll be honest here. Actually, right now, I feel a bit homesick for my hometown because it is too hot here in Vancouver, and I hate hot weather. Okay, so actually I do feel homesick right now. My hometown is much cooler, and in the wintertime really, really cold. But yeah, sometimes I feel homesick, of course. Actually, right now I feel a bit homesick for my hometown because it is too hot here in Vancouver, and I hate hot weather. So right now I do feel a bit homesick for my hometown because I prefer a colder climate. I know that sounds weird. A lot of people think that's strange, but I also really miss rain. It's a hot day. It's pretty hot here in Vancouver, but very briefly, right before I came to work, it rained just a little bit. And I was like so happy that it rained, right? I was like, oh my God, finally there's rain, awesome. Anyhow, next one here, how many different homes have you lived in? Which one did you like the best? Why? Which one did you like the least? Why? Ooh, that's a tough question. How many? Let's think, okay. So when I was growing up, I actually lived in the same home from when I was a baby till I was 18, before I moved out of my parents' house and went to university. So like my family and I, when I was a kid, we never moved. We lived in the same house, and it was a great house. So there's that. Dormitory. Korea, I lived in 2 different places in Korea. And I came back, and I lived in Alberta. And I came here, 1, 2, 3. Actually, I haven't lived in too many places. I'd say about 8. I think that's about accurate. I've lived in about 8 different places. Yeah. I have lived in 8 different places. Now, which one was my favorite? Which one did I like the best? Of course, I liked the house in my hometown the best, right? That was my home for 18 years when I was a kid. We had a lot of land. There were lots of forests and mountains around our house, so outside the environment was really good. So yeah, I would say, of course, I like the house I grew up in. Unfortunately, that house, like my parents moved to another place after I moved out a long time ago. And so they sold the house to somebody. So I can't, well, I can go back there, but you know, I can't enter the house. That would be weird. Why? Which one did you like the least? Why? The house I grew up in because of nostalgic. Actually, I'm going to change this. For nostalgic reasons. Now, nostalgia and nostalgic are interesting words, right? Nostalgia describes, and maybe this is the same in Spanish, Alejandro. I'm not sure if you guys also use the word nostalgia. Now, actually, the word sounds Russian. But anyhow, nostalgia and nostalgic is the adjective form. But nostalgia is like fond or good memories of the past, right? Like, let's say you hear a song you haven't heard for 10 years. It's from your childhood, right? Or you eat a certain food that tastes just like the way your mom used to cook. When that happens, you will have nostalgic memories of that time in the past, these good memories, right? Now, the reason why, of course, I like the house I grew up in for nostalgic reasons. Like, if I go back to that house, I have a lot of good memories, right? But I should also say, and because I like the environment around my old house. Okay, which one did you like least? Why? I hated a room in a house that I used to rent in Vancouver because the owner was a greedy piece of garbage. All right, guys. Now, that's not a very nice thing to say, greedy piece of garbage, but he was a greedy piece of garbage, and I didn't like him. Anyhow, guys, let's stop there for a moment. We're going to take a 10-minute break. When we come back, we'll finish this off and then move on to our elective, which is a music listening class. So I'll see you again in 10 minutes. Welcome back. We are in our third class now, guys. So anyhow, let's get back to the speaking practice, right? And the previous question was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we are on question number 8 now. Now, question number 8 is a good one. This is kind of fun because it's imaginary. It says, if you could change anything about your home or neighborhood, what would it be? Okay, so thinking about my home here in Vancouver, if I think about one change I could make to my apartment and one change I could make to the neighborhood, it's pretty easy actually. I would make my apartment bigger if I could change one thing. In addition to that, now if I'm thinking about the neighborhood around my apartment, the neighborhood is not too bad. Like most of my neighbors are good people, of course. However, because I live downtown, yeah, there can be homeless people around my neighborhood. And I'm not saying homeless people are evil, but they can be very loud. And they do leave, how can I put it, drug-related items like syringes or needles in the alleyway or on the street. And, you know, that's kind of disgusting. It's not good for kids. So in addition to that, if I could remove a lot of homeless people, I would. Okay, so that sounds bad, but those are the changes I would make. Okay, moving on to number 9. It says, name at least 5 of the most important factors to consider when choosing a home. For example, safety, convenience, location, material, and more. Okay, so the 5 most important factors when choosing a new home for me are, okay, so you guys want to think of the 5 most important things or factors that are important to you when you're choosing a new home, a new apartment, right? Now, number 1 for me would be location. Second one would be safety. Third would be convenience. So all of these ones are similar to what was written down, written down here. But also size. Right now I need a larger apartment, so size is important to me. And lastly, probably cleanliness. Of course, everybody would prefer to be living in a very clean house or clean apartment. So yeah, for me, location is number 1. I want to be living in a place that is close to or relatively close to either my workplace or a subway, not subway in Vancouver, but SkyTrain station so that I can get to work easily, but also somewhere that's located close to a convenient area where I can go shopping. Safety, of course, is a concern. I don't want to live in an area where there's a lot of crime. Nobody wants to live in an area with a lot of crime. So the safer, the better. Convenience, of course, convenience is important. If there is a grocery store or supermarket close to my apartment, that just makes life a lot easier. You can just walk there, go get groceries, come back. That's awesome. And size, of course, like I said, I have 2 daughters. We need a bigger place, so size is important. The bigger, the better. The bigger, the more convenient, right? And lastly, cleanliness, right? nobody wants to live in a dirty place, right? I don't want to live in a dirty old apartment or house. One time when my wife and I first got together and we started living together, we lived on a ground floor basement suite. And it was actually a pretty good suite. However, we had problems with insects, like there were ants and sometimes fruit flies. That's kind of gross. But in addition to that, there was a mouse in the house. There was a little mouse that seemed to be coming out from the side of a wall, and it ran around our apartment one time, and my wife got really freaked out, really scared. And so I had to buy a lot of mouse traps and I had to kill the mouse, and that was not a fun experience. So yeah, I'd rather live in a very clean place. What things in your home couldn't you live without? That's a good question. What can you not live without in your home? What can I not live without in my home? Okay, I would say internet is the most important thing. Internet, my beloved coffee table. I bought this coffee table a long time ago, but I just really, really like it, so I can't throw it away. I don't know why, I just really love my coffee table. My beloved coffee table. A fridge. Everybody needs a fridge. Trust me, my fridge, a couple of months ago, our old fridge broke down and we had to call the landlord, or sorry, the owner of our apartment building and ask him to get a fridge, but he couldn't get it for 5 days. So we had to survive without a refrigerator for 5 days. And when you don't have a refrigerator, you really quickly realize how important a refrigerator is. So yeah, the internet, my beloved coffee table, a fridge, and I don't know, and a comfy bed. These things I cannot live without. I want a comfy bed. I want a comfortable bed. I need the internet. Everybody needs the internet these days. My beloved coffee table and a refrigerator. Okay, well, let's move on to number 11, guys. Our last one here says, how can houses be more environmentally friendly? Consider solar panels, natural cleaning products, compost, and more. So how can houses and apartments be more sustainable? I believe mandatory recycling is good. Solar panels for heat would also be a good idea. Honestly, guys, sorry, I'm not very imaginative when it comes to thinking of environmental things. It's not really my strong point, but I do think mandatory recycling is a good thing, in that if you live in this place, like you must recycle your plastics, your glass, your cardboard, etc. Composting too, throwing out organic garbage and having it being recycled is a good thing, right? And that will cut down on waste. But yeah, I think solar panels for heat and for hot water is a great idea. If you live in a house, if you can get solar panels, I think that's really cool. Other than that, I'm going to be honest here, I don't really know. However, I think houses can be designed with the right material to make the house cooler or hotter depending upon the environment, and that will save energy costs, whether you need to use an air conditioner or a heating system. Maybe you can save some money and help the environment by using less energy if the house is designed well, and if the house is designed out of good material that keeps it hotter or warmer during those months where it's hot and warm. But that's about it, guys. Okay, So we got our speaking practice done. I do think it's a good idea if you have a partner at home, brother, sister, wife, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. If you can print this sheet off or keep this sheet up on your screen and practice these questions with one of your loved ones, that would be a really good way to practice speaking, because talking about homes, houses, apartments, you know, of course, this is a pretty common topic all around the world, right? So if you are going to be speaking to English speakers in Canada or the US, talking about your house back in Colombia or back in Korea or wherever is useful to be able to talk about this topic, right? So try it out, practice it at home, and try doing that before you take the quiz later. But guys, let's stop it there, and let's finally move on to today's last thing, which is our elective, where we will be listening to a song and filling in some blanks. Yay, right? So let me get this off the board. And let's take a look at this song by, I believe it's by Flo Rida. Okay, sorry. I thought this song was Florida by Flo Rida, but this is My House by Flo Rida. Okay, so give me a second, guys. I just got to set this up on the computer. But before we get into that, one second. The computer is not cooperating with me. Okay. And I got to plug, the speakers are in. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I'm just looking for the file. Well, I have to load my email and set this up, but the computer works just a little bit slow today, just a little bit. Actually, not too bad. Yeah, kind of slow. Okay, what am I looking for? I am looking for where the heart is Monday. Sorry, Friday. What am I talking about? Okay, going back. Here it is. And okay, there we go. Okay, and it sounds like it's a little bit quiet, so I'm going to turn it up. Okay, that might be a little bit too loud. All right, guys, so hopefully this is not too loud. Hopefully it's not going to kill your ears. I think this one here, guys, if you take a look at the sheet, you need this one here, Flo Rida, My House. And actually, this is pretty easy stuff. What we're going to do is listen, fill in the blanks, and then we're going to think about that vocab. Now, if you look at the very right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 American slang terms. And let's discuss that after we have filled in the blanks here. So let's listen 2 or 3 times, fill in the blanks, then talk about the slang, and then lastly come back to the song and maybe briefly discuss it. So I hope you guys enjoy the song. I have to fill in the blanks too. I didn't print off the answer key, but that's okay. I am a native English speaker. This shouldn't be too hard, right? Okay, so here we go.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it out. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. 'Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my duck off the crib, the spot, the pad. But my house is your house if you throwing it back. Excuse me, it's my home, draining the sand. Soon as these happy faces land, you can run with the cash. Home run, slam dunk, touchdown pass. Me casa es tu casa, so it ain't no holding back. Another shot of vodka, you know what's in my glass. This is my house, just relax. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. It's my house.
Okie dokie. So that was Flo Rida's My House. Now, guys, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I only got about a little bit more than 50% of this filled in. So if I'm having trouble with this, I'm sure you guys are having trouble with this. I think the music is loud enough, but it's kind of hard to hear the lyrics. Also, like, this guy is a rapper, so he does speak quite quickly at different points, and sometimes it's hard to follow his pronunciation, right? So I think we're gonna have to listen at least one more time, maybe two more times. So let's listen again, try to fill it in. I will also try, although the lyrics are a bit confusing here. Let's see how it goes a second time. So here we go. Okay, we're going in a second here. Sorry, it just seemed to stop. Okay, now, oh, come on. Okay, there we go.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you've been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Morning comes and you know that you wanna stay. Close the blinds, let's pretend that the time has changed. Keep our clothes on the floor, open up champagne. Let's continue tonight, come on, celebrate. That's how we do. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go wild. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. We gotta go out 'cause what? Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. It's my house.
All right, guys, so we listened a second time. I did fill in all the blanks. I'm pretty confident with my answers here, but this is still pretty damn tough. I'm gonna be honest here. Yeah, this is really, really tough. Honestly, I think we should listen just one more time, try to fill in the blanks, and then finally after that, we'll take a look at the blanks. So one more time, guys. Let's try this out. And that'll be the last time. Okay, it is only 3 minutes, so let's do it again.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. 'Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you've been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Morning comes and you know that you wanna stay. Close the blinds, let's pretend that the time has changed.
Huh? Oh, sorry guys, music stopped. Probably an internet issue. 121. Okay, let me start that again. Sorry guys. 121. Come on, restart. Okay.
Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Morning comes and you know that you wanna stay. Close the blinds, let's pretend that the time has changed. Keep our clothes on the floor, open up champagne. Let's continue tonight, come on, celebrate. That's how we do. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my duck off the crib, the spot, the pad. But my house is your house if you throwing it back. Excuse me, it's my home, draining the sand. Soon as these happy faces land, you can run with the cash. Home run, slam dunk, touchdown pass. Mi casa es tu casa, so it ain't no holding back. Another shot of vodka, you know what's in my glass. It's my house, just relax. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. We gotta go out 'cause what? Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. It's my house.
Okay guys, okay, that's the last time we're gonna listen to My House by Flo Rida. All right guys, but let's take a look at what goes in the blanks here. And what goes in the blanks here is not exactly related to the American slang on the right-hand portion here. But let me just number these from 1 through whatever the number is. So let's take a look here, guys. So, Florida, my house. Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on. Something, something, something. And he says, turn it up. And I think what he's talking about here is like turn it up, like turn the music up, right? Make it louder. Hear a something on the door. What did he hear on the door? He heard a knock on the door. Of course, knock, 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 right? Hear a knock on the door and the night begins, because we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home. Tell me where you've been. Something yourself, right? Now, you can kind of guess, because it says something yourself, something cold, right? He's saying pour yourself something cold. He means like pour yourself a cold drink. Pour, right? So pour yourself something cold, baby. Something to this. Ding. Cheers to this. Okay. All right, so continuing onwards here in the pre-chorus, he says, sometimes you gotta what? He says, sometimes you gotta say a. Sometimes you gotta say a. Now, this a is not the same a as Canadians use, right? Canadians, we use the word a sometimes at the end of a sentence to express that there is a question or to look for confirmation. Like if I say to my coworker, it's hot out, a, I'm looking for him to either agree with me or maybe disagree, right? If it's a hot day and I say to my coworker, it's hot out, a, hopefully he will respond by saying, it is. But a lot of times when Canadians use a, it has no meaning. But anyhow, number 6 here, and you know where I live, yeah, you know what we is, sometimes you gotta say, or stay in. On to the chorus. Now, this blank was really hard for me to catch actually. Welcome to my house, baby, blank, blank. Now, what is he saying? He's saying, baby, take control, right? Maybe like take control of the house or like, you know, enjoy yourself when you're at my house, have a good time, right? Take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house. Moving onwards. Morning comes and you know that you want to stay. Close the something. Let's pretend that the time has changed. So close the what, right? Now, I thought originally, even before I heard the song, I was probably like, oh, close the door. But it's not close the door, right? He's talking about something that you have at your window around your house or your apartment, right? But it's not close the shutters, right? Or anything like that. It's like close the blinds, right? And the blinds are, you know, next to your window. You let down the blinds. Ding, 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 ding. If you close down the blinds, people cannot see inside, right? And you won't be able to see outside as well. But anyhow, close down the blinds. Let's pretend that the time has changed. So maybe you're saying like close down the blinds because then the sunlight won't be coming in so they can pretend it's nighttime or something, right? Keep our clothes on the floor. Open up champagne. Wow, sounds like fun. They're having a party and drinking champagne, right? Let's continue tonight. Come on. Do what? Come on, enjoy yourself. Have fun, you know, celebrate. Come on. Yeah, let's continue tonight. Come on, celebrate. Okay, there we got it. Now we got the pre-chorus chorus, which makes kind of no sense. But anyhow, welcome to my duck off the crib. The spot, the pad. Okay, don't worry, we're going to talk about crib and pad in a second. But my house is your house if you've thrown it back. Excuse me if my home bring in the sad. Like, excuse me if my house is making you sad. Soon as these happy faces land, you can run with the cash. Home run, something, something, touchdown. Now, all these three expressions in a row are sports-related expressions. Home run in baseball, when you hit a home run, right? You hit the ball out of the park, and you can just run around all the bases and you get a point, right? That is a home run. After that, we got our blank, and then after that, touchdown. Touchdown is an American football expression. When you get a touchdown, that's when you get the ball over the opponent's line and you get a touchdown and you get a point. Second one is also one, but it's related to basketball, and it is slam dunk. So again, all these terms there, touchdown, home run, slam dunk, they're all sports related terms. That means you got a point, right? But they can also be used to express like, well done, or you got a point in life or something, right? So that is a slam dunk. That's the basketball one, when you slam dunk the ball through the hoop. So home run, slam dunk, touchdown, pass, mi casa e tu casa. This is not English, of course. I hope, Alejandro, this makes sense to you. I think this is Spanish. My house is your house, I believe. Mi casa e tu casa. So it ain't no something. This is really hard to catch, guys. But he said, it ain't no holding back. It ain't no holding back. Another shot of vodka. You know what's in my glass. It's my house. Just relax. I think what he's saying, ain't no holding back. He's saying like, don't hold back, right? And hold back is like, to be a little bit cautious, right? Not to be so adventurous. So he's saying, when you're in my house, don't hold back. This is a party. Enjoy the loud music, drink champagne, have fun. Let's pretend we're having a good time, even if we're not. What was that sound? I don't know. Anyhow, so yeah, this is mostly about this guy just talking about having a party in his house, and he's kind of inviting you to have a party with him, right? Now, let's think about this vocabulary really quick. Most of this is very easy. Turn it up, turn the volume up on the stereo or on the sound system, right? Knock, we know knock. Pour a drink. Cheers, cheers, ding. Say A, don't worry about that one really. Take control is like, of course, you take control. Control is yours. You can do whatever you want. The blinds are like the shutters or drapes around a window. Celebrate, we're all okay with. Now, crib and pad, though, these ones are both being used as slang expressions. Now, we know that crib is like a baby's bed, right? That is one meaning. That is the proper meaning of crib. However, crib has another meaning. A crib can also just mean your house or your home. And pad has the same meaning. Hey, welcome to my pad, or come to my pad. It can also just mean house or home. So in this sense, crib and pad are being used in the same way. However, keep in mind that both of these do also have a proper meaning. This is just a slang term meaning, as in house or home. Slam dunk, we talked about that enough, and hold back, we're good. All right, guys, so we're good with the blanks here, but let's take a look at the right-hand side. In the box there, we have this part that says American slang. Now, slang is always useful, right? And a lot of American slang originates from two different places. Well, nationally in the United States, most or the majority of slang comes from California, actually, right? And there is regional slang, like in the South or in New York. But a lot of the slang from places like New York, like the Northeast or the Southeast and all these areas, it usually doesn't spread nationally and then internationally. However, a lot of slang, for whatever reason, from California, it tends to spread around the United States and around the world, right? And I think the reason why is because, of course, California is the home of Hollywood, and not most, but yeah, a majority of TV shows filmed in the United States come from California. So if they're from that area, they're kind of using local slang, and that's why those slang terms from California spread around the United States, and also the music industry as well, right? So I would say within California, the two main groups where slang comes from, it's really interesting, is African Americans. African Americans are the ones that usually generate and create kind of like cool new slang. So if they start using a term in their community, maybe rappers start using it, it gets into music and it spreads across the United States and Canada and the UK and whatever English-speaking country. But also Californian female teenagers also create a lot of new slang. And again, those terms that originate with teenagers, like in high school, those terms spread across the United States and Canada as well. Anyhow, but of course, slang is really useful, right? And it's good to be able to use slang because it shows that you are familiar with the language. It makes what you are saying more interesting and it sounds better most of the time, right? If you use it too often though, of course it's not optimal to be using it too often, right? Because you don't want to sound too casual. It depends on who you are speaking to. But anyhow, guys, let's take a look. The terms we have here are loaded, crib, wheels, flunked, screwed, trashed, grand, and airhead. Okay, I will briefly explain them, then we will fill in the blanks. Now, if somebody says, you are loaded, dude, man, you are loaded, man, I'm loaded too, right? The meaning of this is you have a load of something, right? This means you have a lot of money, right? Or that you have a lot of something, but usually just means you have a lot of money. Bill Gates is loaded. Steve Jobs was loaded. Elon Musk is loaded. The owner of blah, blah, blah company is loaded. They have a lot of money. So loaded is pretty simple. Okay, moving on to the next one. We already talked about a crib. Remember, proper meaning is a baby's bed. The slang term meaning of a crib is just house, your place, your home, right? After that, we have the term wheels. Now, we know what a wheel is. Cars, trucks usually have 4 wheels. But wheels can also be used to replace car, right? If somebody says, you have nice wheels, they're not exactly talking about the wheels on your car. They're saying your car is nice, right? You have a nice car. You have nice wheels. That's it. So wheels can be used instead of saying car or truck or automobile. After that, we have flunked. To flunk something. This is usually used in regards to school tests. If you said, I flunked my test, it means you failed, you bombed, right? It went really, really poorly, right? You don't want to flunk university tests, of course. So flunk is just meaning to be unsuccessful, to not pass. And it's basically just used when we talk about tests in school. Screwed. Screwed is really, really, really useful. If somebody says, you are screwed, or I am screwed, it means I am in big trouble. I'm in really big trouble. Something is wrong. I'm going to get screwed, right? After that, we have trashed or to trash. So this is, now we know trash, like T-R-A-S-H means garbage, right? But trash can also be used as a verb. To trash something means to mess up something. If I trashed my apartment, that would mean like I don't know, had a big party there and now it's really disorganized and there's garbage everywhere. And somebody could say like, wow, you really trashed your apartment, right? Or I trashed when I was a kid sometimes, I didn't take very good care of my room in my house. So my mom would say, you trashed your room, you got to clean it up. And then grand. Now we know one meaning to grand. If somebody says that is grand or this is a grand piano or this is a grand house, like it's fantastic, it's wonderful, right? But a grand, if we use grand as a noun, grand is pretty simple. Grand just means $1,000, right? If you say I got 2 grand, it means I have 2,000. I got 10 grand, I have 10,000. I have 100 grand in the bank, I have 100,000. So a grand is just like a unit of money, right? 1 grand, $1,000. Okay. And lastly, airhead. Airhead is a insult. It's something mean you can say to somebody. If you say, you are an airhead, you're saying to that person, like they have a head, but inside there's nothing. It's just air. So basically, if you call somebody an airhead, you're saying they are stupid, they're an idiot, they're dumb, they're a moron, right? We have so many different words for that. Moron, idiot, dumbass, dumb, stupid, airhead, right? Okay, so let's take a look at these blanks. They're going to be pretty easy because I explained the vocab, but the person is saying here, number 1, man, Jen has the sweetest something. She has a huge rec room and a pool out back. She must be something, right? So Jen has a huge rec room, recreational room, and a pool out back. So she's got a pool and she's got a rec room. So Jen obviously has a good house, right? A nice home. So which term had the same meaning as home? That was crib. So man, Jen has the sweetest crib, right? She has a huge rec room and a pool out back. She must be, now Jen's got a rec room and she's got a pool. So Jen probably has quite a lot of money, right? So she must be loaded. So those are the answers for number 1, crib first, loaded second. Number 2, why is Joel dating Rachel? She is such an... Now, the important thing here is, this person is questioning, why is Joel dating Rachel? So maybe this person doesn't like Rachel. And then they're saying she's such an something. Now, important thing here is the article, is an. So whatever follows it must be an insult starting with a vowel, right? So this is easy to guess. She is such an airhead. So he's saying basically, Joel shouldn't be dating Rachel because Rachel is stupid. Rachel is a moron. Rachel is an airhead, Ding, ding, nothing going on, right? Okay, number 3, guys. Number 3, Claire's mom was so angry with her when she blanked the house after she threw a party last weekend. Okay, so Claire's mom is angry at Claire, and what we can understand here is that Claire threw a party last weekend, right? Now, threw a party just means to host a party, have a party, right? So she had a party and the mom is angry. Why would she be angry? She'd probably be angry because they created a lot of garbage, they didn't clean up, it's probably really messy. So which term did we just look at that has that meaning? Of course, it's trashed, right? So Claire's mom was so angry with her when she trashed the house last weekend. Okay, there we go, guys. All right, moving on to number 4. Rob's parents bought him a new set of blank for his 18th birthday. Wow, lucky Rob, right? Now, this used to be like a really common tradition in Canada and the United States. I think it's becoming much less common for the for a child's 16th birthday or 18th birthday or after graduation. Parents would sometimes buy their kids a car or truck or SUV, some kind of vehicle, right? So that's what we're talking about here. Rob's parents brought him a new set of wheels. Now, set of wheels is maybe the more proper way to refer to a car or truck in a slang way, right? Wow, that's a nice set of wheels you have. Wow, that's a nice car. Anyhow, so yeah, they bought him a car. Very lucky, lucky Rob. Anyhow, number 5, guys. Becca is worried that she will blank her science exam, right? So Becca's worried that she's not going to do well on her science exam, right? Which term did we look at which would mean she wouldn't do well? It was flunk, right? Becca's worried that she will flunk or fail or bomb her science exam. Now, I know in the example up here it has flunk, but it has it in the past tense, flunked. That's just one way to do it. So flunk is a verb. Anyhow, she's worried that she will flunk her test. Number 6, Jeff lost 2 something at the casino, he isn't very lucky. So what do you lose in a casino, right? You lose money. And the only term we had here for money was units of money, was grand, right? Grand equals $1,000. So it's grand is our answer here. So Jeff lost $2,000 at the casino. He lost $2,000 at the casino. Yikes, poor Jeff. He should stop going to the casino. Number 7 here, guys. I forgot to renew my passport and my flight is tomorrow. I'm in so much trouble. I got a really big issue. I am so screwed, right? He's supposed to fly to a foreign country tomorrow. And of course, you need a passport, but he forgot to renew his passport. He is in hot water. He's in big trouble. He is screwed. All right, guys. All those slang terms are pretty good. All these terms are pretty good, honestly, especially screwed. That is quite commonly used. It's not a nice sounding word. Like I said before, slang is always useful to know and to use, but don't use it too much, especially it really depends on where you are or who you're talking to. You got to be a little bit careful. Anyhow, guys, that about does it for today. Keep in mind that you can take your quiz after this or anytime this weekend, and it's broken into the speaking and also the writing. So what you'll want to do is make sure you do some review before you take it. Now, what you want to review, though, is the grammar, osas comp, the correct order of adjectives. Also, review vocabulary for different items around the house. My recommendation is if you take this quiz and you have a lot of difficulty with certain vocabulary, don't worry about it too much. The vocabulary looked at for like items around the house was very specific, and some of it's kind of British and not terribly useful. But review the vocab, review the grammar, and then try out the quiz and see how it goes, okay? All right, guys, but you guys have a nice weekend. Here in Canada, we have a 3-day weekend, so we will not have class on Monday because Monday is British Columbia Day in this province in Canada. So I will see you on Tuesday. All right, have a fun weekend and be safe.